Welcome to the Diner Podcast, where we eat our lunch or breakfast. Welcome to the Diner Podcast. I'm your host, Red Velvet. With me, as always, is Uncle Lump.
Hello.
And this is an OG episode.
How's it going, sir?
Not bad. I feel really close to the screen, so I'm going to scoot it back a little bit.
Zoom out.
I was like, why am I up? Like, you can't even see the top of my head. So.
If my cheap-ass Amazon camera, well, not cheap, it was, more than I wanted to spend on a camera, but I bought it, and it does not work without lighting, apparently, in this room, because I tried to plug it in earlier, but you can do, like, the Wayne's World, zoom in and out.
Whoa,
so it's like, I like it. I'm not sure if I'll keep it or not. We'll see. I'm going to play around with it a little bit more, but I figured it was worth the gamble, and it beat the hell out of spending like a couple $1,000s on a camera. But
yeah, well, on the bright side is you can send it back.
Yeah, so it's been fun. I've played with it for a couple of days and kind of.
You ain't even making like sex tapes, have you?
No. Why would that be what you assume? I literally haven't recorded.
Well, I've been playing with it. Well, what the fuck? What else do you do? I don't know.
It is currently set up in my bedroom because it's right behind my camera.
Once again, back to my original question.
I set it up right before this to show you, asshole. And that is where we ended up. But no, I have not been home. We went to Lafayette all day yesterday, and that's when my camera came in. It came in like Monday evening, I think. So yesterday we were gone at that Malibu Jack's. Is that what that was called? I think that's what that's called. But
I don't know. I didn't go.
Dude, it was fun. They have a little roller coaster in there and rides and 1,000 arcade games, go-karts, putt-putt. It was really, really fun.
That's awesome.
That's what we did all day yesterday. And then, so I'm like very much, I try to like read the labels on my stuff and I try to pay attention. I bitch about things on here all the time. So we were wandering around because it's attached to the mall in Lafayette. So we got there early and we just wandered around and we're hanging out with the kids, and we stopped in GNC and they had a buy one, get one free sale. And I'm like, oh, cool. We need pre-workout. So wandered around, found our normal couple that we go to, and then we found another one that was right next to it that had creatine in it, and it was kind of a 2-for-1 special, and it looked awesome, it sounded awesome, the flavor was good. And then this morning, whenever I go to try it for the first time, I was like, ooh, let's see, like, vitamin wise what's in this, make sure nothing like
you ruined it.
And, yep, I did. Oh, it gets better. So there is a warning label that talks about the normal, like, don't drink if you're pregnant and blah, 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 blah. So, but right underneath it, there was a warning for California. And I'm like, that's weird. Like, that's an interesting extra label for it to have. So I'm like, oh, what do the California people get as their label? And that was letting us know that there is possible lead and heavy metals in this that can result in cancer. And I was like, oh hell yeah.
There we go. Heavy metal. Okay.
No, not the good heavy metal, like that'll like pump you up and get me ready to rock. It's gonna like, poison me and kill me.
Gotcha.
So,
gotcha.
Fucking awesome. How does that happen though? Like, why?
No, hang on. Is that just for everybody except California, or is that?
Yeah.
I don't.
No, so my guess is California has a law that doesn't let certain like supplement companies, whatever, because clearly with the food and stuff and a lot of other wild shit that happens in California.
We're not going to let you poison people with these gummies.
Basically, yeah. But it makes no sense. So it was like, I read that and I'm like, motherfuckers, like they're already poisoning us.
$40 on that.
It was like $60, I think, or $50, because it was the pre-workout plus creatine, and then we got another thing half off. And I was like, because we were going to get our normal pre-workout plus a creatine, and then I happened to stumble upon the one right next to it that was a pre-workout plus creatine, and it was like $15-20 more. And then I was able to get another thing half off. And I'm like, well, that seems like the better way to go about it. I'm not sure my math adds up there, but in my head, it justified me purchasing these things. So, yep, I went with it. But I was so pissed this morning because then I assume it's like everything else where it's operation and it's that, okay, like they don't clean off whatever it is, but it's like, God damn it. Now I just spent $50-$60, whatever the hell it was, on a pre-workout that now might contain heavy metals because I didn't read all of the labels.
Yeah. What kind of heavy metal did it have? Slayer or Mudvayne or Slipknot?
It said lead. What did it say? Yeah, I wish it was those. That'd have been way better if I opened it up and it just started singing like Wait and Bleed by Slipknot or something. But
Yeah.
no, it said lead and other, I think it said lead and other heavy metals that can be cancer causing. And I'm like, what in the hell?
That's what you get for trying to be healthy, Jared.
I know, it's bullshit. Because I assume, like, I get C4 from Walmart all the time, and I would venture to guess it also has lead and heavy metals. This company, just for whatever reason, had to put it on the actual thing, but I'm guessing that's all of them, so it's probably not good in any facet.
Well, that's what I saw a picture the other day. It was yesterday, to be exact. And it was talking about the original Gatorade formula and today's Gatorade formula.
Yeah.
And it was like Gatorade had 5, I think, ingredients. It was like lime juice, water, potassium, something else. And then it goes to today's Gatorade, and it was like 15, 16 different things. And I was like, oh, what's the original formula taste like? Because I guarantee we've never had that.
Yeah, so that's what's wild is, sorry, I was trying to multitask there, but there's tons of things out there of like showing you the labels of whatever it is. Let's go with like Gatorade. So in Gatorade, say you're doing the red Gatorade here, there is, I don't know, I'm absolutely guessing. So just FYI, I'm 100% guessing right now. But say there's 12 ingredients in the Gatorade in America, and there's whatever you just said a minute ago, 5 ingredients in the one in pick your country, whatever. So that's what I don't understand. Why do we have all of these ingredients that are banned in these other countries? And why are we not getting that same thing? Why is it okay to poison us with this shit and continue? It's like that, but that's exactly what it is. And they just proved that with the red dye. And I know I've talked about it a bunch, but we're going to fucking talk about it again. They banned it. So we've talked about it a bunch of times where these dyes are in. The biggest things I saw were Skittles, M&Ms, Fruit Loops, Gatorade. Well, I don't remember, but there's red and yellow, and they're both known to cause cancer. Well, they finally banned red dye. Well, they banned it, but they got 2 years. Okay, well, the 2 years is because they don't want to lose the product on the shelf. Knowing that it causes cancer, they're just going to keep like pumping it out there because obviously they don't want to pull the product off the shelf because it's fucking in everything.
I'm guessing somebody making the rules gets a kickback of that too.
They're like, for sure,
ban it, but give me my money first before we wipe it.
The problem is they lay it out with the bullshit like notion that they're doing it for like, well, these companies have to have time to put these policies in place. No, they fucking don't. They already have them. Well, they already have the policies in place because the other countries wouldn't let it in their country if you didn't.
But let's look at it. If they did that to a mom and pop, that like immediately, like, or you're shut down.
That's fair. Okay, I didn't think about it. I was looking at it more along. So I guess.
Well, no, I'm just saying that's the unfair thing is the mom and pops, like, because they don't have the deep pockets. They don't have the legal team to fight it, to delay it. They're like, okay, well, they're going to either shut my whole business down or we're going under, and then they're going to slander. They're going to slander me with, oh, well, they produce products that could cause cancer. I mean, you look at like, let's look at the chatter. If a mom and pop restaurant serves one bad meal, they're all over the chatter.
Yep.
McDonald's does it, not a word.
Yep. And that's everything. If a local business in a small town finds out that they are serving an ingredient that is known to cause side effects, known to cause cancer, even if it's known, like if they're finding out that just people in a small town are getting sick, that could either close that business, that could be a huge detriment, or that business is going to go, hey, we either can't utilize that anymore. Like they're going to take that off the menu. They're going to do whatever. But when it's a Walmart, it's a Nabisco, these giant corporations that run all of this shit, it's because they're all ran by the same people. They know the profit loss, and they know that we're all just going to keep doing it because it's fucking in everything. It's even in like deodorants and soap.
Yeah. Well, they've got those legal teams. They've got the money to delay it and be like, okay, well, we're going to go back to court and we'll get rid of it in 2 to 5 years.
And that's everything. Like it's the same thing with all of the stuff they promised to release. They just released the JFK files on Tuesday.
Did it look like this?
Basically, yes. It looked like a bunch of scribbly, scrabbly. I did not read it. I did not go through it. I skimmed through a little bit of what
I
Jay
read
sent me.
I read what Jay sent, like, or posted. Like, I read the sharpied out stuff. It was really hard to read, but I also didn't know what I was reading anyway because I'm not informed.
Essentially, there's a multitude of possibilities that could have happened, but like it to me, they're putting it out there for a reason. At this point, they've delayed it. They're giving you what they need to give you to keep delaying the inevitable. The human trafficking shit is the thing that is the biggest problem. At this point, who killed JFK is, I mean,
they're probably all non-existent at this point.
Which is why they're putting it out there, because it may implicate some things and people might be able to figure some shit out. But it's not going to implement hundreds, if not more, people around the world in these high-level positions who are running human trafficking rings. So of course we're not gonna get on to those things. We're just gonna keep putting out these little wins and awesome things, which is great. I'm glad they're doing these things for the country. That being said, to me, how is that not issue number one? If you have two high-level people in these positions, being Diddy, who, again, world-renowned rapper, you have Epstein, who was I guess, asset for the CIA, possibly asset for Israel, that is also blackmailing people. You have the Harvey Weinstein in the TV industry. I've heard Mr. Garth over in the country music world. There's a lot of these, but there's a lot of these quote unquote gatekeepers in these industries, and these people were legitimately arrested for human trafficking. And it baffles me that is not like number one thing that we are going after, is that they found out that people are either abducting children, they're like using these like breeding type things to just have children and utilize them for this stuff. And that's not problem number one. Like, that's not what we're looking at. We're not going in and deep diving to who are on these lists. And am I saying everybody that went to a Diddy party or on the Epstein list is guilty? No, not of that. But I assume at some point or another, there is some sort of blackmail, whether it be money laundering, it doesn't matter, taking a bribe. It literally could be as simple as someone paying you off to pass something. Like that level is out there too. But if they've corrupted that many people from the level of, hey, here's a kickback for this, and then now we own you, because some people, that's all it takes. And other people don't give a shit. So then it goes into well, I have you on tape doing this absolutely horrendous thing. Yeah. Sorry, we now own you. You're going to do whatever the fuck we say for the rest of time. And if you get enough of those people, and you get enough people in high level positions, you keep this shit from coming out or being a problem. But then it's like I said on the last one, I think Twitter became tabloids. Twitter became like where they're flooding it. And it seems very much so done purposefully. Like, because even if I've seen people plug the JFK things into Grok. Rogan tweeted out when this came out, it was later in the evening, but he was like, has anybody, like, who killed JFK? What's, like, somebody fill me in on what's going on. Has anybody plugged this shit into Grok? And basically the answers were a lot of like, yeah, I'm not super like confident in Grok's abilities anymore. Like, is Grok awesome? Can Grok do a lot of things? Absolutely. Is Grok potentially trained to give you certain answers about certain topics? That very possible, because it said it wasn't able to read it, it wasn't able to compute it. I forget what it gave, but it was giving, and again, this is just a minority of answers, so I have not personally tested this. I definitely can sit and try it because it would be very simple to do, but you should be able to plug it into Grok and go, hey, can you siphon through these however many ridiculous amounts of files there are and give me a breakdown of what happened, who did it, who was involved, and what was covered up, and what seems to be the most likely scenario here. And it should be able to do that. If it doesn't do that, then again, there's probably some teachings. But then I was reading further into it, and people were like, yeah, I gave it this and that, and it got the equation wrong, or it did this. Like, people were plugging in things that they already had the answers for, and it wasn't getting it quite right, but like we've learned that with just whether it's graphics or stories or whatever, like you have to go in and you can utilize it for ideas, but it's probably not going to give you like, it's not going to spit out a final copy in most, unless you just really know how to prompt it and you really know how to.
It's good
like,
for templating ideas,
yeah.
and then like base information. Just if you just want to know a simple like, okay, does this thing still exist, or give me a brief rundown of the history of this, it'll spit it out. Not gonna say it's 100% factual, but it gives you an idea to start somewhere.
It's really good for creativity. I mean, and don't get me wrong, like this, I think what we're getting is a complete and utter bullshit version of AI, and what is actually real and what they can do with this shit.
We will not get access to.
We'll never know, because they know what people can do with this shit, what people are already doing with what's available. Mm-hmm. There is not a chance in hell they're releasing us the baby steps after they've already went in and figured it out. Again, I think the problem is social media. People just keep figuring things out, connecting dots, but then it becomes so exhausting that it's hard to follow along with everything. And again, I think that's the point. You eventually tire out and it starts weighing on you to where you're like, oh, fuck it, I'm just going to go back to living life. But then that's how they keep getting away with it, because everybody gets close and then they realize, oh, we're never going to fucking crack this. Like we can't take down the big government. So then people back off and stop trying to do it. I mean, there's still a lot of people on Twitter, it seems like, siphoning through this and doing it. But
I have like, how does one become a gatekeeper in this? Because there's obviously like once a generation, basically. I mean, once Diddy, air quote, gatekeeping, his time is coming to an end, there's going to be another one. So how do you do that? How does one fall into that enough? How do they choose? Because I just don't know. Like these people just come out of nowhere and they control everything.
So it seems, I'm going to guess it's just like all of the other power positions where someone's groomed into that spot. And then once they're done, because it's not something you ever get out of, like it's a lifetime thing. Like you're in this, like I assume there are some old motherfuckers that still pulls a lot of strings and can do a lot. They just have their person that they hand it down to, but then like a retired mob boss, they sit behind the scenes. Gotcha. And I'm guessing that would be
that's probably what it is
how it goes.
They have a power tree, and whoever climbs to the top of the tree right underneath the boss probably gets the kingdom. That's probably what I was just like, so Kevin Hart comes out of nowhere, which I don't know, I've not researched enough, but he really did kind of come out of nowhere with Soul Plane. Yeah. And then now he's everywhere, and he's rumored to be a gatekeeper of comedy.
To that though, in all fairness, that could happen to us. Like we could get something offered to us, or like something we put out goes crazy, and they've used that on a lot of people. But there's a lot of theories behind Kevin Hart, but that is kind of the running, like that's what they do. They kind of find you, they get you hooked, and then you're kind of like, they gave Kevin like a 10 movie deal or something, like right out of the gate. Like it was like something that doesn't I can't remember what it was, but there was something along the lines of that where he got like an astronomical deal out of the gate with not a whole lot of like anything behind him. Yeah. But I mean,
what's the rumor? $100 million or whatever to the wiener. Question.
Yep,
you doing that?
No, nope. I'm good. Like
no strings attached.
That's a lot of. There's always strings attached. That's the string. That's what you're getting. That's how they hook you in, because now, like, unless you just go out and say, "Hey, I just sucked this dude's dick and got a bunch of money," like, but not a lot of people are going to go out.
Probably get off by then.
Well, and I mean, but that's the only way you do that and you get around it. Like that's the only way I think you go ahead and you take the money, and then you come out and go, all right, we got to confess.
Well, I think I would say probably not too long after your confession, somebody's knocking on your door and you will not be around much longer.
But that's fine. Like that sucks for that person. Like that sucks for me. But like at the same time, if that's what happens, where I come out and say, hey, this is what I just did. Like I can show you physically, like the diner is going to like start paying for a lot of random.
What do you mean show us physically like this?
Oh. Yeah, no, I wasn't gonna like go on and show clips, but like, but I feel like you would go on and be like, all right, listen, like this is what happened, and if I die, but I feel like you all, but like most people, 99.9% of people aren't going live going, hey, I sucked a dick yesterday for a lot of money.
Yeah, I kind of want to like question people on that, be like, so would you do it for $100 million?
I mean, it is a lot of money.
I'd have to see it like visually. Like, give me that $100 million. Like, just put it on the table.
I thought you meant the dick. Like, is it?
Well, you'd have to see that literally too. But I'm saying, like, $100 million. I could have it in the background or something, and then you're like, I don't know.
I thought you were sizing up the dick. Is it clean? Is it large? What do I have to do? Do I have to?
Oh no, like
a snake?
It'd be terrible, and I would suck at it the whole time. I'd have to ask some other people I know that does that more than I would on some tips or something.
What do you think the mentality after that is? Like you're happy because you just got $1 million or $100 million, but you just had to suck a dick for it.
The way I look at it, as long as my family is safe and they're not going to be attacked like with weapons or anything, like they'll be taken care of and not have to be fearful of anything. I don't know. Probably would.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Like the more
I got to look at the $100 million right there, and it's like I get to take that home tax free, bro.
Is that what you're doing? Then you're just taking your focus onto the money, and you're just gonna just hawk to it while you're staring at the $100 million.
I mean, I'd have to probably make it a little entertaining. Like they'd be laughing the whole time or something, but also be a race. Like it wouldn't be a fun one. It wouldn't be like pleasurable. It'd be like, I mean, just cranking that son of a gun.
Do you think it'd be worse if he came in your mouth or on your face afterwards?
I wanted to eat pineapples or something.
I don't know. I was just curious which way. Like that's something you don't think about. You don't think about like how that's gonna go.
Oh no, I'm like I'd be like, oh, like that looks like Keanu Reeves in the Matrix or something. But I'm like, I'm just sitting there. It's like $100 million.
That is a lot of fucking money, man.
That's generational wealth right there. And then, but the thing is, you don't like.
But do you mentally?
I don't change my standard of living, and I could tell somebody that they wouldn't even know. They'd be like, "Oh, you're full of shit." Yeah, I might be.
So is it one of those where like you go to your wife and you're like, "Hey, honey, listen."
We're not talking about a decent proposal here or anything. I ain't putting her up.
No, I mean when you get asked, like you have to like. Do you go to your wife afterwards, like beforehand, and go, "Hey," or do you just go do it and come home with $100 million and go, "Listen, like, I got some shit to tell you.
I need some advice. I need to know how it works, how you do it, but
I need some expert technique. I want to get out of this as fast as possible, and I want to make this done in under 30 seconds.
What's the tricks I got to do to make it fast? You got to think. Well, I get that some bitch off in like 4 minutes. That's $100 million. Take that the hourly rate.
You are an expert, sir. You know exactly how this works.
Well, I know from one perspective. I need to know the other perspective.
Fair point.
Gotta have notes.
I need to have a collective here.
I'm just like writing down. All right, that's that technique. Okay. Tonight I'm getting a notebook out.
Have it written on your hand so you can look down.
Oh, get all sweaty and it'll get blurry. I'd have to have no
opposite hand. You're not double. Like I guess it could be, depending on what kind of monster you're working with.
I don't want the guy that I got to hold it like a baseball bat. Like, good God! Like, what is that? 10 inches? Shit. I'm not horseman here. I'm just saying, like, $100 million.
That's a tough one.
Well, dude, that's something like you got to cross that bridge when it comes, like when it happens, because it's like you could say one thing or the other, but
how about someone just shove, and they're like $100 million because we're skilled at this and we talk very. That's what I'm saying, too. I was just saying, in that scenario. Can someone just give us money for like our skill and not make me have to suck a penis for this? Like that's not what I was going for when we started this.
Well, apparently we know $100 million is the price.
That's the price to make you at least think. Like the more because originally I was like, no, not a chance. And then the more we talked about, it, the more I was like, $100 million. Like, man,
you ain't got to worry about anything for the rest of your life.
Because I mean, really, you just close your eyes. You got about, depending on how confident you go after it, you could be out of there in a minute.
Well, then you got to think you're the one doing the thrusting, not the other guy. So you control,
or you're getting.
You got the control on that. Now, if it's like pinned over, I don't know.
What if they make you swallow? What if that's part of the deal where you don't have the ability to like jettison and matrix this shit? That's part of the deal. You have to. Are you still taking the money?
So. I learned that in college. It's only 7 calories. I didn't take that class either. That's what somebody told me.
Oh, I don't know if you like personally found this out.
No, some girl I was friends with, she was in some sort of sex class. She goes, "Did you know semen's only 7 calories?" I'm like, I do now.
How do you go about
I don't know. But I mean, you guys think it's a lot of protein? And it's only
I guess the same way you would measure like a teaspoon of like mayonnaise.
I guess. I don't know. That's too scientific for me. I was just like, I don't know. That's they might have to put an extra 10 mil for that to happen or something.
I love that that's the number. There is an amount that would let someone.
No, I don't know. Like, once again, it's that thing. It's like until the opportunity presents itself, like, and I'm not saying this is like an open door opportunity, but it's that hot. Like,
you put it out there for everybody.
What do you do? Like,
just in case someone needs a good
anybody that's presented that thing, it's like you got to stop and think. You got to be like,
you take the payment up front, correct? Like, I mean, that would be a real bad way to go. Yeah, the cash has
got to be sitting on the fucking table, and I'm taking the trash bag of money with me out the door with armed guards that aren't going to like murder me. I'm just saying,
also,
like but dude, $100 million like in hundos, like it's going to be taller than me. Like you're sitting there on a wall of cash, and you're like, I got to do that.
I have too many questions. I think I would ask too many questions beforehand because I would
revoke yours pretty quick.
Yeah, I would need to know all the schematics beforehand of like, all right, man, I got to know how's this gonna go?
Yeah,
like, what are your expectations of me?
Like, it's not gonna be good at any point. Just so
like,
you know.
I'm going to try my best. I'm going to give it a solid effort, sir.
I'm a biter, just so you know. Does that negate money or what? But
I don't think it shouldn't be a defensive situation. I think if you're going into this, you have to go into it like you are now this man's boyfriend, and this is what you do now.
Oh, that's
a great question. I like this.
Well, it's a critical thinking question because it's like. On one hand, you're like, oh yeah, that's right. We ain't doing that. No, $100 million, bro. $100 million.
So we've spent a lot of time talking about this. So this is clearly going to be one of the topics of conversation when I write the thing. How do I write that out on this? We talked about whether we
$100 million deal.
$100 million.
100 mil. What would you do for 100 mil? Like, and I'm not saying that's number one. Like, oh yeah, I'm going straight to that. No. I'd rather have you tattoo me again for $100 million.
Oh yeah, I never did put that video out. I totally forgot.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, it's like $100 million is laid down like this one opportunity. Here's $100 million, life changing, generational wealth. Your family, your generations never have to do.
Well, my hope is
do whatever they want for the rest of their lives. Nothing, and you're like. Man, I've made sacrifices before. I've worked a lot of hours and not seen my family for way less money.
For way less money. Like, you kind of sell your soul to these companies for way less money and a lot more of your time and effort. So, like, the give and take ratio there, if you will.
That's where it has to be put out further. It'd be like, all right, so just this one thing.
One time.
One thing, nothing else.
And we're good.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
We're probably gonna get a lot of flack for that. This
might not do well on the old Facebook machine, but that's okay.
Well, we'll put a poll out or something on the street for $100 million.
Perfect. It's a poll. Will you suck a poll?
Anyway, but dude, so yesterday we're going away from that. We're just going.
Women have to do that, or don't have to do that, but women do that just to be nice.
And thank you, women, for doing that.
And we're sitting here debating whether we would do it one time for $100 million. So that should tell every man that you should be very thankful for your wife.
Yeah, be very thankful to your significant other, because I'm sure it's not a fun, pleasant experience for them.
Well, it should be. If you gotta shower, sir. Like, you gotta take care of yourself.
I do. You act like I just come home from the cattle farm, take a dump, let's go. No, I'm considerate.
What's that called? A blumpkin?
That's when you're taking a dump.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah, then there's a double decker. You know what a double decker is?
That's when you shit in the tank, right?
No, that's an upper decker.
Okay, what's a double
decker? You're shitting. You're taking a dump in the upper tank. She's taking a dump in the regular bowl, AC Slater style, and
so it's like battle shits, but missiles are being fired.
Then you're getting a blowy.
Yeah, that's what that was. The missile. That was I was speaking of. We are launching missiles with battle shits.
But yeah, that's that. Yeah. So anyway, thank you, ladies, for the.
I want to know. I guess I was going to ask if people could comment if they've ever done that, but I don't think anyone's going to do that. So that was.
I don't think. I don't. That's like asking. That's like posting on the internet. Has anybody ever masturbated to me and waiting to see the responses? What's going to happen?
Participate?
I do it all the time.
No. Fair.
Yeah.
I forget that everyone doesn't just talk on the internet all the time about all the dumb shit that they do.
A lot of people do, but they're usually talking crap to each other, and then they can't spell. Like, I love getting on the chatter and just seeing what's going on and trying to like use my grammar and once again, here's a public service announcement. Anybody's going to talk trash on the internet, use your spelling and your grammar.
Yeah,
because
one misplaced comma can really take your argument from sexual to angry, or from angry to sexual real fast.
And even that,
have the wrong comma.
If you misspell a lot of words, you could be the brightest dude on the planet, but if you can't spell, you're going to look like a dumbass. Like, just hands down.
Those are always better to write out. Take a night, sleep on it, reread it, because you reread it the next day and go, "Ooh, that's not going to work. I can't do that." And then you don't fly off the rails and send dumb messages to people and cause problems. So it always is helpful to read beforehand before you fire things off onto social media, because it really does. Like, that one off letter, one typo can make a difference. Like, we posted that thing with the mixed plate, and I forget what it said. It said, God damn it, Leo instead of Lay, I think. And we had like multiple comments about Leo immediately. And it's like, oh, hilarious. That's what people like. It's almost like they're just looking for it. Like,
they're looking to find the mistake. Like, you could bat 99 out of 100 and they're going to hit you on the one that you got wrong, the one failure you've had. And they ain't don't worry about the 99 successes you had. It's the one failure that's going to sum up who you are and everything about you.
And that is why it's important not to give a fuck what people think. Because it doesn't matter. Everyone, you're always going to piss people off. Always.
You are. And it's unfortunate that people find they look for the negative instead of seeing the positive. It's unfortunate, but
we'll talk about it again tomorrow, and I'll be very brief with it. But the internet wrestling community is doing that with Jey Uso again. Like, these people who don't get off their fucking couch and do anything or talking shit about, because he got his foot caught on the rope and had a nasty spill. Like, they're human beings putting on a fucking show, and he just jump high enough, and it's like, I can't take this company seriously, while they're fucking stuffing their face full of Cheetos on the couch, and it's like, oh, well, I can't take you seriously, sir. Like, this is like crazy. But
I bet if that said person that made the comment versus Jey Uso, if they do the best of 10 of whatever move that was, Jey Uso will win every time.
Yeah. Not one time are they probably can't even run to the ropes, let alone try to jump over the ropes. Like, we try to get in and out of there, and I trip over the ropes all the fucking time because it's not a simple thing. And these guys are literally out there putting their lives and bodies on the line to do a show for you. So, like, we watch TV shows, and they're awesome. They're fun. Those people are actors. They have stunt doubles that go out there and do these things in these movies.
They do the same scene 47 times.
Yeah, Kevin Hart just talked about that on Hot Ones. He was just on there for their anniversary show, and he was talking about how like in his older age, when he's gotten, I think he's like in his like 45, I think he's 10 years older than us. But he was talking about in his older age, like he doesn't do any of the stunts. He's like, I used to do it all the time where I'd be like, oh yeah, throw me on this or let's do that. But he's like, now I can't, like, I just don't want to. It hurts. And then you watch these wrestlers do this week in and week out. They're traveling to these house shows, the pay-per-views, doing media, doing all this wild shit. And then they botch one move. And that dude is fucking over. Who gives a shit what he's over for? If it's the song, it doesn't matter. He's fucking over and it's awesome. Like, sorry. When my kid last night or Monday day, it was on during the day, heard Uso's music hit, she came running out and she's standing on the couch dancing. Like, but you watch the whole crowd. That crowd was losing their shit the whole time. Everyone is pumped to do that with him regardless, and he's just fun. So who gives a shit what it is? Like, it's a fucking show, and it drives me crazy that it's like these people but it's the same thing. They look for that negative and trash a guy who's worked his ass off his whole life to get to that spot to be able to main event WrestleMania, and then he tripped. Not only does he fucking eat it on the ring, and like I'm sure he was embarrassed, felt like shit, but then now it's like, oh, this guy doesn't deserve this because he fucked up one thing. Oh, fuck you.
Well, the thing is, I mean, you got to think when he came in, he was a twin. So of course, any twin is automatically tag team no matter what. And they were a tag team forever. And finally they got like their own thing. And that's where I was like, well, they're splitting the Usos up, whatever. I mean, they'll be okay. Like I figured they'd both be like Jimmy, where they're here, but Jay somehow did it, and he's up there now. Now is he main event? I don't know, but he is hot right now, and he's selling the crap out of merch.
Yeah, and that answers your question. He is main event. It doesn't matter. Like the crowd loves him. Everyone's going nuts. These fucking nerds on the internet that want to talk shit. And it's like, dude, it's a show. Relax. Like it. And it's fun to talk about. I just hate when people tear down someone that's in that spot where it's like, this dude's living out his fucking dream. Like watching him the couple times he's cut promos and stuff, getting emotional and like almost not being able to get through. And then people are like, look, the dude can't even cut a promo. Well, no, he's about to fucking cry. He's trying not to cry on national television in front of a wrestling crowd because he's literally living out his dream right now. Like, that's a surreal moment to know you just started your program to move into the main event of WrestleMania. And now you're going out there to start the show. You are, I assume, gassed like a motherfucker because he danced like crazy with them forever and then tries to cut this promo, and people did it then too. But it's like they're just looking for, but I've made that comment before.
It's because they're peanut butter and jealous.
Yep. It's just they want to find something to bitch about always. With Roman, he's being shoved down our throat. Cena's too good. Cena's too like pushed. He's too over. He wins all the time. He buries people. Then it's Daniel Bryan's not being pushed enough. He's over like crazy. Everyone's doing the yes. But now with Yeet, it's different. Now, stupid WWE, how dare you put that? It's like you just want to bitch. It's just people who want to be negative and always find something to complain and whine about. And it's like, just have fun. Like,
have fun, enjoy it, just enjoy it, because it's an escape from reality for a couple hours, and just enjoy it no matter what you're doing. Like watching a movie, watching TV, golfing, whatever. Just go enjoy it. Just live in the moment. Stay off, put the dang phones down.
Yep.
And just enjoy. Enjoy whatever happens.
How was that yesterday? You got to go and be outside all day and kind of just disconnect because you don't get service worth a shit out there.
No, so you don't.
By default, you have to kind of just disconnect.
Yeah. Well, and that's what. So I only go to Turkey Run in September, like for our reunion. So it was a little weird going in March.
Yeah.
And I still don't know how to get there half the time. I always make the wrong turn. I always make one wrong turn because I get confused. And I'm like, and I think both ways get there. It's just I've gone the same direction for 30 years.
Yeah.
No, it was fun. I had to pack all the food, which I did. I did well. I didn't bring plates or napkins or.
Okay, hold on. I got to pause. were you tasked with like the whole thing? Like you had to plan the meal, go get the meal, or did Jasmine get everything and then you just had to like grab it all?
So on Mondays we have date day. We go to Sam's Club and I get, a couple hot dogs and stuff like that. And then we go get deli meat. So we had some deli meat and we have the poor man Subway now because once again, F Subway.
Yep.
Got the foot long sub sandwiches and we had some roast beef and some turkey and we made our own Subway sandwiches. So that was all here. And
okay.
She said, pack it. You're packing it. I got to get stuff ready for work and then we can go. All right, cool. Throw everything in there. I assumed we were getting ice. We did not get ice, but she took them cold packs after I packed everything.
Oh, yeah.
Threw it all in there. But I had everything packed. She goes, "You forgot knives." I go, "No, I did not. I took the bag of knives and I threw them in the chip box." So I was like, "Here you go." Didn't bring trash bags though, so we had to pack everything into the one plastic bag I had. But it was fun.
You can usually get out of it and find something to put all your shit in.
We made do with what we had. But no, it was fun. We had to go on trail 3 with the ladders. That's like the go-to. I hate that trail now. Like,
oh, it's so fun. That's because there's so much like you actually get to like do things.
We ate lunch and then we were going to do 2 trails, but by the time trail 3 hit, shoes were caked in mud. And then I went to step on something that gave out and I went into the water and I'm walking around with wet feet and wet pants. And I'm like, get me out. Like, I'm done. So we get through the trail. We end up taking a shortcut. We got through the ladders. We had to go through backwards. And dude, people are nuts. Like in my old age, I become a big pussy because I'm like climbing up these ladders. Like, oh God. I remember I look over, there's like those little cliffs you can climb up.
Yeah.
I remember doing that as like a younger man. We're talking teenagers, early 20s. And I'm like, well, the hell would I ever climb that? Like that is just dangerous as I'm going up the ladder. And then I see this other people going down the cliffs on a whole nother side. And I'm like, hell no, absolutely not. And then like I saw these hills we used to climb as kids, and I'm like, you couldn't pay me today to climb these things. But we ended up going through there. We got up to where trail 10 meets trail 3, and we shortcutted it around and went back. We ended up at the Turkey Run Inn, which my wife did not know was there. I don't know why. We've been going to Turkey Run for 15 years, and she didn't see the gigantic building as you drive in. But that's here.
You wouldn't really know that it was a hotel, I guess, unless you just were paying attention to it and
she didn't know the building was there.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah. But we went into there. Girls got to play in the arcade a little bit, and then came home. Dude, I was bushed. Like we got back. Oh, yeah. And I took a nap with the girls and woke up at 7. So
those are the best. But you wake up like you've like been in a coma for multiple years, and you just wander around like, what time is it? What the fuck's going on?
Jasmine did not take a nap, and she ended up building 2 flower boxes and doing all this other productive shit. I'm just
I'm out. Yeah, that is exactly how it goes at our house as well. Like lately, I've been doing better, but there for a little bit, I get in these spurts where about 2:00 I hit my wall, and the aforementioned metal pre-workout has got me fucking jacked today. Though it's called Gorilla Mode.
It's all the lead.
It might be. I don't know what kind of heavy metals it gave me, but it might have turned me into like Wolverine this morning because we're 2:00 on in the afternoon now. I drank that thing at like 8:30 this morning, and I am still rocking.
Yep. And so last night, local history, I guess.
Yeah.
I saw in the chatter, it was posted a few days ago. It was a podcast. It was called Missing Midwest, and it was about a boy here in town that went missing in the 50s, and he was my dad's age. So like, I was intrigued. I would go, okay, I'm gonna listen to this podcast.
Yeah,
and was listening to it, and dude, I've heard stories of that kid disappearing, and his name was Billy Martin. He would be 73 or 74 now.
So what? I guess I don't know if I've ever heard of this. What happened?
So back in 1957, Billy Martin disappeared in August of 1957 without a trace, like just poof, gone.
Okay.
And it was a big. I asked Dad some questions. He goes, well, 6 or 7 at the time. So he goes, it was a big deal. Like they had helicopters flying, low flying airplanes. But the story was, the carnival was in town. It was August. So they had the carnival going, and there were 3 kids. There was a sister that was 10, Billy was 7, and then his brother was 4. Well, this is what's mind-boggling to me. The sister got to go to the carnival by herself at age 10. And I'm like, holy crap.
Not a good idea.
Billy did not get, Billy and his brother, they wanted to go, but they didn't get to go. They were too young. So
I like how 10, like, I guess back then that makes sense.
I'm just like, I would not let my 10-year-old daughter go anywhere.
Well, the world's changed quite a bit since then.
But yeah, they come to find out this boy just disappeared. And it's a good podcast. I shared it on my personal page if anybody wants to check it out. But
can we go diner cold case? Let's see if we can figure out.
It's gonna be tough, dude. Everybody's about gone now.
Damn.
But
that'd be fun to go. I mean, it'd be like,
and that's the thing is, so he went missing, and like he had his aunt and uncle were living in the same house with him, and the last person to see him alive was his uncle. He took him. They were like, there was a dog running down the alley, and him and uncle went down there, and I guess allegedly, they're all allegedly because nobody fucking knows.
Yeah,
uncle came back, well, just by himself, and he said, "Hey, I'm gonna go wash the car." So he had to wash the car at a farm.
Okay, hold on, time out. And they didn't solve this case? This seems pretty fucking cut and dry. I think the uncle did it.
It's barrier. So when this is what I ended up calling Dad last night, and I had questions. Took the car to a farm in Hoosierville, which is down by my parents' house, and to this lady named Lorraine Evans. She had a farm, and I asked Dad about it. I go, hey, because she was kind of like, people thought when Billy disappeared, they kind of were like pointing at her.
Yeah.
Police did search her house. She had like 2 or 3 houses. She came from a little bit of wealth, apparently. She had this haunted house that, it was all haunted and all this. They searched every house she owned. Never found a trace. They did find bones, but I guess they tested them. They ended up being animal bones.
Oh, okay.
Uncle took a polygraph test. Aunt took a polygraph test, and his story never changed. Like, hey, he was, went down to the alley, but then the last time I saw him, he was playing in the street. As I was leaving, I yelled at him and scolded him for playing in the street. And then they did that. They said there were some discrepancies in that polygraph, but nothing, but the story, to the T was to the same. They're like, whatever, they shake it off.
That's not super hard to do though. Like, I guess it would be hard, but if you're sticking to the same story, I don't feel like that's too hard to do. Like, depending on if you're, I guess, as long as you're not getting too wordy with it, I feel like you could sit and do that. But the dude left with him comes back without the kid, and all of a sudden, like, I'm gonna go wash the car. This has nothing to do with the kid not being here with me. Don't worry about that.
Well, then apparently during the carnival, 3 carnies they up and left in the middle of the carnival.
Okay, also weird.
Yeah. Well, they ended up tracking 2 of them down. One was he was having issues. He was touching the children as he was buckling them in. Then another one, the other one, there was another one they found in Colorado, and they brought him back to Brazil. He was like a mental patient. It came from a mental asylum. He also had a newspaper clipping of Brazil boy missing. And on the way, he said he offed him, but then said he didn't later. And once again, a little discrepancy there. But
may have been wrong about the uncle.
Yeah, so I don't know. But that's where, it could have been one of those. But that's why I asked Dad. I said, hey, man, like, because I go, this lady lived in Hoosierville. Did you know who she was? Have you ever heard of her? He goes, yeah, I knew her pretty well. She went to church with me. She goes, I used to sit on her lap from time to time at church. And I go, what? He goes, well, he said she was a bit of eccentric. She goes, she was really ahead of her time. She, kind of wore flashy clothing and lived I don't want to say an alternative lifestyle. She had boyfriends, which, was kind of frowned upon in the 50s. But she had a big pink house that lived on the corner. The house was on, I know exactly where the house was, corner of Airport Road, Knightsville Road. The house burned down, and there's a trailer there now, but it was a pretty big house and had like glass walls and stuff in it. And
times have changed. Now girls on OnlyFans are trying to sleep with 100 dudes in a day.
Exactly.
Times are changing.
Times have changed. But he said, I remember a lot of that going on in the police searching, but he goes, you know how people are. People are a little different, a little weird. More people start pointing fingers at them.
Yeah.
And he goes, so I don't know. He goes, she was a little, she never like scared me, but she kind of like, because he'd walk up from church, from Sunday school, and she'd be like, hey, give me a hug. And he'd give her a hug, and he'd be like, that was kind of weird. But grandma would be like, she's not going to hurt. She's fine. But it was a really cool thing. But then one of the rumors is they were building Meridian Elementary at the time, and he disappeared. And they say he's buried under Meridian. Back in
that would make sense of the ghost stories that I believe I've heard ghost stories about that. Is that the right school?
Huh?
Is that the right school? I believe we both heard these. Yeah, I believe we both heard these ghost stories.
They were draining ponds. So you know where the bridges are at Forest Park?
Sorry for anybody who has children there that are listening to this. I guess if they've made it this far with their kids, then that's probably the least of their worries.
That's on you. But at Forest Park where those bridges are,
yeah,
there used to be ponds in there. They drained those ponds around that time. I think Dad said around that they were looking for him, so they drained the ponds.
And they just never filled it back up.
No, they went to the
carnival. I always wondered why that looked like that.
Yeah. But yeah, he said it was just, and then it just over time slowly died down. But Dad, I remember Dad.
That'd be cool.
Dad told me at the time of Billy's disappearance, like everybody's on edge. I mean,
I can imagine.
But he always said that Grandpa was building a garage at the time at the farm, and he was going out and playing and stuff, and Grandma would always be on him like, you stay right next to your father. You do not get out of sight. You don't want to end up like Billy. That was kind of a thing going around. You don't want to end up like Billy. Don't be like Billy. And it's unfortunate because his brother, I think his brother's name's Robert. Once again, you'll hear everything on that podcast.
Yeah.
He still posts to this day on Facebook, like trying to find answers and all this. And it's sad. It's great. I'll let you send the email on that.
I'd be interesting. Like, I'd love to talk to him and just hear what, like his perspective of the story. I mean, obviously it's out there. It's not like it's it's a like secret thing. Like it's there's people doing podcasts about it, and it's a cold case. Like, I think it'd be awesome to hear.
I think he still lives around the area too.
We should absolutely reach. I like that we're just planning business while we're sitting here. Sorry,
but it was an interesting episode because like I said, I've heard of the name, and he disappeared. That's basically cut and dry. And
I vaguely remember hearing this story, but I didn't know any of this stuff. This was all brand new to me.
It would be interesting to hear a perspective of somebody closer to it. That's still, I mean, I think he's 70. He's in his 70s.
Well, who knows? With our dumbass questioning, maybe we'll uncover something.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll be detectives.
So I have a question, completely different topic, but obviously we're getting to the end here. When we were talking about Turkey Run, does that mean you're going to go camping with us this year?
No.
No, not into the. No. Me and my wife were just talking about, like, I cannot wait that is like my favorite thing, is being able to go hike and be outside and sleep outside. It is the best. I'm so ready for it to be warm.
Hey, I don't mind hiking, but I want to go home. I don't like especially Trail 3, very rugged. I'm like, God, let's go on a rugged or a moderate. Why don't we go to the hardest one? Like,
I want to die.
My calves are killing me. Of course, I did the elliptical the other day, and so they were tight from that. And I crawl through all this mud. I was like, man, I don't like this. But it was fun.
Good, though. I'm proud of you. You've done really good.
Yeah, it was fun, though. And I was wiped out when I got back. But, I also drained a lot of protein in me before I left. I go, that might be why I'm tired. I walked a lot. I don't know how far Trail 3 is, but
I can't believe you're still doing that. You are dedicated.
It's easy money.
I mean, fair enough, but I would pass out once or twice a week. I would just be passed out in a chair, and that sounds horrible.
It's not bad. It's not bad. I just get on there, and then I get on my phone, play some games, and within 35
needles don't bother me when I put them to your ass, I guess. It's just when they're going on to me that's problematic.
That's true. So did you pass out when you got a tattoo?
No. Nope.
Okay.
Not on either of them. I don't know. Maybe it's just the medical needles that do it. But as soon as
like deeper.
Fair point. But it's like, it's not really the sight of the needle. Like, I start getting a little queasy and woozy whenever they start like opening up the packages and things. It's like, oh shit, here we go. And then as soon as it goes in, like the last couple times it's been the blood drawing, just the needle and being done with it. I think I'm over that one. It's the blood drawing that I
like. You see the blood coming out.
So it's not even that. Like the last time I didn't look at it, nothing, and I was like, I'm good. I'm not fucking passing out this time. Like, we're fine. And I woke up. That was the time I woke up and had like multiple people standing around me and told me I had a seizure. And I'm like, well, I failed. That was not what we were going for. But yeah, I have no idea. I don't know if there's just something that when my blood starts being taken out of me that I just pass the hell out because of the feeling of it, maybe. Like, I have no idea what it is, but it makes everything in my body get all like queasy. I go white and then I wake up.
Yeah. Well, one thing it has, I do feel better after I do it, like the day in between or the day after.
Interesting.
But it also, like, it makes me, I can't drink whatever I want. I have to stay very hydrated. And like that, the marathon weekend we had of wrestling, I drank a handful of energy drinks. Oh, I felt it on Tuesday because when they stuck it in, I was like, oh, God. Like, I grimaced. I was like, ooh. And I was like, what'd I do differently? Energy drinks, which I haven't had energy drinks for a long time.
Yeah, you stopped doing them because you were scared your heart was going to explode. But you were also drinking like 2, 3, 4 over the course of a couple hour span, which cannot be good.
So that's where I was like, okay, let's that. But then on the day after, the Tuesday after the Super Bowl, when I drank a lot of pop, it took forever to get all out of me. Like, I'm just sitting there and I was like, oh my gosh. Oh my
gosh.
It
made your blood syrupy.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay. So it's really keeping me hydrated and being more cautious about what I drink.
Yeah. I'm convinced all of that has an effect on everything. Your gut, your brain, all of it. Like, it all coincides with each other. The more you focus on what you're putting in your body, the more you cut out the processed bullshit, the sugars, the pops, even the diets. Like, it's the syrupy shit that's in it, I think, because I've had a couple and like I start getting the acid reflux again. And that's just doing like a 0 sugar Dr. Pepper or a Diet Coke or something. Like, they're on the occasion, it's usually weekends. Like, if we're like doing stuff or hanging out, whatever, I'll occasionally grab one, but that's all it is. It's one and I'm done. But even that lately gives me that like side stitch.
Really?
But I'm convinced that the more you focus on like I quote unquote eating clean, whether like just vegetables, fruit, like cooking your own shit, staying away from pop and fast food and sugars. And I don't even think it's like you have to be 100% on it. I think if you can get to about the 70, 80 mark and your body's able to process it so much better and fix all these things in your body. And like, I still feel like I have a long way to go, but the more I stick to those things, the more I kind of like, yeah. And then if I go back or I eat fast food or I drink that shit, it immediately makes me feel fucking horrible. And it's like, oh, okay, there's something to this. And obviously you're kind of like a guinea pig for it. Like, your blood's changing into different forms almost, where it's like harder to pull it out because of what you're eating or drinking.
Well, and that's the whole thing is like, I still like on Mondays when we go to Sam's Club, I'm getting a Pepsi.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, if I drink one, I usually get 2. Okay. I'm there a while. I get 2. I'm like, all right, well, I've got to drink minimum 3 of these Yetis.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, that should at least balance it. But at the same time, dude, I'm sitting here wandering around with 32-ounce cup all day and I drink 6 to 12 glasses.
You started walking again. You started doing like, and that also, I think you can reward yourself on occasion. Like, it's the same thing. Whenever I was working and I was going to lunch with those guys every day, that was an everyday thing that I've told the story multiple times. Like, there were multiple times I would stop and grab a bunch of Egg McMuffins and a Coke and take them up to the office, and I'd eat an Egg McMuffin, drink my Coke, and go hang out at the office. We'd leave and go downtown to Brewburger, to Fogo, to literally wherever, a soul food place, a wing place, mow down on a shitload of food, and I'd drink 3, 4 Cokes at lunch. And then I was going home and doing the exact same thing. Like, my water intake was essentially 0. I have no idea how I didn't die. Like, my water intake was 0. I was eating like an asshole every single day. And then it's like I told you, I think I said this on the podcast before, but when I first started losing weight, when I quit that job, I literally thought I had something wrong with me. I thought that, oh shit, I may have like cancer. I may have something because I shouldn't be losing weight this fast. I know, but it was the pop and all the bullshit that I was eating, the stress. And I was like, oh my God, that is what this feels like, and then cutting that stress out, cutting the bullshit out, and then it's like, whoa, this is a whole different way of thinking, and it calms you down. It kind of changes your perspective. You get like a whole different outlook on life. It's fascinating.
Yes, you do. It's very nice. It's cool, you know.
Yeah. And then you learn like the vitamins and stuff that can aid in that, where you start like reading stuff. And I think I have like a vitamin cocktail kind of figured out now that works, that helps with all things. It helps my body function. It helps the anxiety, the stress, because that's what I read a lot about our cortisol levels, where that's, I guess you hold that like inflammation and stress, and it causes sleep issues. It causes that like lower belly fat to stay. And that is the thing that I like am hardest on myself about. Is obviously I was 300 pounds before. Now I am like 195 pounds. So I still have a lot of like tightening in the stomach that I want, and I am very impatient, and I am very, very hard on myself. So that's my motivator normally. But even after losing 100 pounds, it's still that like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do it this way, because you become addicted to it. And you like I said, I'm still not happy with where I'm at with my body. I have goals that like very like stupid unobtainable goals, like I don't know why, but it just keeps me doing it. Like it just like with the Sam challenging me to a match, like I still don't think he's going to win, but on the off chance that he does win and I have to fight a match, it's giving me solid motivation to be in the gym and not miss a day and keep everything going harder. So like that's find something to motivate you, even if it's silly stupid things that aren't necessarily, just give yourself that like that extra little push to kind of mentally keep yourself in there, because it is hard. It's very difficult to not like just gorge out all the time.
It's tough, and you got to pick your battles. So, but
It's
I
also
got
fucking delicious. Well, let's do the sponsors. You got to take your kiddos too.
I'm gonna go to Taco Bell too. As we're talking about eating healthy.
That's okay. Moderation. It's all right.
Right. I want to thank our gold sponsors for letting us do what we do. Pappy's Barbecue, Meat Eat, Repeat. RJ's Formal Wear. They have sweet suits. Wabash Valley Plumbing. They lay pipe. That's our slogan, not theirs. Peak Performance Gym. No peak, no results. Stitch Brands. They embroider stuff. All right. And with that, we're out of here. Keep pushing. Love you.
Love you.